Have you ever felt like you're just waiting, waiting for the right person to show up, or for that perfect opportunity, or for the right moment to finally arrive? Well, today, we're going to dive into a system that says you don't have to wait for any of it. It's called the Quantum Reach Code, and trust me, it proposes a pretty radical way of looking at things. Let's get into it.
I mean, that's a bold promise, right? This one sentence is the hook, the whole idea that everything we're about to explore is built on. It basically suggests that the huge gap we feel between what we want and when we get it might just be an illusion we created.
So, here's the twist. This isn't about getting something you don't have. It's about a fundamental shift in who you are. It's about becoming the person for whom your desires are just a natural, normal part of life. And that shift in identity is the whole game.
All right, so let's start by breaking down what this code actually is and, who came up with it. Okay, here it is in a nutshell. The code really only operates on one single principle. Your inner world, your consciousness, is the cause, and your outer world is just the effect. The big claim here is that if you apply this principle with focus, you can create a massive shift in your life in less than a month.
So the guy behind this is Mike Hayes, and he's not just anyone. He's got this deep background in media and communication. We're talking a two-time award-winning researcher for NBC. His work with huge modern brands like the ones connected to Ryan Reynolds is all about taking these timeless, deep principles and making them work in the super fast-paced world we live in today.
Now, let's look under the hood. What really makes this code work? It's all powered by one single, incredibly powerful concept called the law of assumption. I love this slide because it shows two completely different ways of living, side by side. Over on the left, you've got the world we all know so well, hoping, waiting, trying, asking for permission. But on the right, you see this radical shift. You're not hoping, you're assuming. You're not waiting, you're possessing it in your mind. It's a move from being a seeker to literally being the authority in your own reality. This is the core mechanism right here. The idea is that whatever you consistently and persistently believe to be true, and you really feel it, will eventually solidify and become your physical reality. It's not just wishful thinking. It's described as a creative law, almost like gravity.
And this explains the why. According to this whole philosophy, your imagination isn't just some fun tool for daydreaming or escaping. It is the creative power of the universe, but working through you. So what you're creating in your imagination isn't an escape, it's the actual blueprint for your life. Okay, so that's the theory. It sounds great, but how do you actually apply it? Let's get into the practical technique that's really at the heart of this code.
It really just boils down to these 3 steps. First, you create a very short mental movie, like just a few seconds, of a moment after your goal is already achieved. Second, and this is key, you focus on the feeling. Not the crazy excitement of, say, winning the lottery, but the quiet, calm satisfaction of already being wealthy. Finally, you just repeat this little scene over and over until it feels more real than what your 5 senses are telling you right now. To really see how this works, let's look at a story from one of the masters Mike Hayes studied, a guy named Neville Goddard. I mean, the circumstances here seem totally impossible, right? It's the 1930s, he has no job, no money, and he wants to take an expensive trip across the ocean. This is the ultimate test case. So what did he do? He didn't imagine finding a wallet full of money or getting a lucky ticket. No, he went straight to the end result. Every single night, as he was falling asleep, he constructed a scene of being in his family's home in Barbados, and he fell asleep in that feeling. He was literally living from Barbados in his mind, even though his body was in a tiny apartment in New York. And here's what happened. The external world, just like the teaching says, started to rearrange itself to match his internal assumption. Out of the blue, his brother, who had no idea he was doing this, felt a sudden impulse to send him a letter with $50 and a prepaid steamship ticket. The exact means for the trip just appeared. Okay, so a story about a steamship ticket in the 1930s is powerful, but it feels a world away from today's landscape of AI, digital branding, and everything moving at the speed of light. But that core principle, that a focused inner state can shape out a reality, is exactly what we're going to connect to the modern business world right now. This is the key question that Mike Hayes really tackles. How do you take this internal, creative law and actually use it to broadcast a message, to build a brand, or to grow a business in today's crazy digital world?
And the answer is something called quantum reach networking. Now, the quantum part here isn't really about physics. It's about the idea that one person's focused message can have this huge ripple effect. By assuming the identity of a successful communicator, by really embodying your message, you basically become a human broadcast tower, naturally influencing the world around you and drawing in your ideal audience without chasing them. And to make this super practical today, Hayes developed a set of modern tools. Think of Gamma, or guided AI media, as like an AI partner that helps you sharpen and amplify your core message so it really lands with people. Then you have things like media cards, which are basically physical or digital cards with a QR code that instantly sends people to that perfect message. The whole goal is to create what he calls a perpetual media machine, a system where your message just keeps working for you 24/7. It's the bridge between your inner assumption of success and the real-world tech that makes it happen. Okay, let's bring this all back home. How can you start applying this right now? The code lays out a really simple but disciplined daily practice to make this your new reality in 30 days. It's a 3-part daily discipline. You start your day by just marinating in the feeling of your wish already being a fact. Then, during the day, you gotta stay vigilant. When doubt or fear pops up, you just refuse to entertain it and you return to that fulfilled feeling. And finally, before you go to sleep, you replay the day in your imagination, but you revise it, editing it to match how it would have been if your assumption were true all along. This is literally how you retrain your brain.
Ultimately, it all comes down to this massive shift in your identity. You stop being the person who wishes things were different, and you become the person who simply assumes they already are. It's a declaration you make to yourself, not a request you make to the universe.
And this just hammers that point home. See, the feeling of wanting always comes from a state of lack, a state of not having. The feeling of having comes from a state of fulfillment. The entire practice is just learning to live in that state of already having it.
And that's the final takeaway. According to this law, the version of you who felt powerless, the one who was always waiting for some proof on the outside before they could believe, that person was also just a product of your imagination. So the ultimate question this code leaves us with is a really powerful one. If you have this creative power, who are you going to dream yourself to be starting right now?